Our journey with Tessa started at my 16-week ultrasound. We have 2 boys, and we really felt the Lord's call that we needed a 3rd child. So we decided to go through in vitro to have a 3rd child. I went to my 16-week ultrasound, and they put the wand on my stomach, and immediately the air was sucked out of the room. The technician said to me, "You need to go to the emergency room right now." And I asked her, I said, "Can you tell me anything as to why?" Because, we had no clue. We were just kind of wondering, is it going to be a girl or a boy? So she said, I'm not really authorized to give you that information, but she said, "I can tell you that it's very, very grave." And I looked at her and I said, "Will my baby live?" And she said, "I don't know." And they told me that Tessa did not have any amniotic fluid in my womb, none at all. They couldn't find anything to measure for that. And what happens with that is that her lungs would never get that water in there. It's kind of like if you think of a balloon, it can open and shut because of that. And so without that water in there to make those flexible, when she came out and tried to breathe air, the air wouldn't go in there and she would not ever be able to have any air in her lungs. And I asked, has there ever been a baby that has survived this, ever? And they said, "I'm sorry, kiddo, but it's not going to happen. You have a 0% chance that she's going to be compatible with life." And what they told me was that basically without that fluid in there, my womb would crush her. She would be very deformed, and then when she was born, she would basically, if she could live at all, she would just struggle to breathe and then pass away. And so we prayed about it a lot as to what to do, because they really pushed us to abort her. And I'll be really honest that in those first days, thinking of how long that was going to be the process before she was born. We have been believers our whole life. I'm really pro-life, but there's a part of me that just thought, is this the best thing for her? So we prayed a lot about it, and my husband and I just decided we couldn't be responsible for her last heartbeat. So we decided whatever comes, we're just gonna see it through and do our best and kind of leave the rest up to God. We, at 18 weeks, started seeing a really great maternal fetal specialist. And the most awesome part about him was his ultrasound technician, who was always really full of hope in a very hopeless situation. And she would always say, "You know what, maybe it's not as bad as you think." I went to a prayer group and had a bunch of people pray over me, and I ended up getting a little bit of fluid. At 23 weeks and 6 days, I checked into the hospital. And I think everybody in the medical staff kind of wondered, why are you checking in here with a baby that's not going to survive? But we were determined that we were going to do everything we could here to help her have a chance at life, and then leave the rest up to God. And that is a statement from my dad. You do what you can and you let God do the rest. I heard so many times from so many different people that it was foolish to be there and spend my life in the hospital for a baby that just did not have a chance. I had a really great resident and actually a really great doctor when I was there. And they said, "You know what, we've made it this far. Let's go down to labor and delivery and just have her be checked out overnight, because you would hate to take it this far and then not be cautious about it." All night I was having contractions and she just was not doing well. So in the morning they came to me and said, "You have a couple options. You can either deliver her while she's strong and not in distress right now," because she was showing mild distress but not emergent distress, "or you can go back up to your room and see if you have more time. But if you do that, what might happen is that eventually you just go to monitor her heartbeat and she will have passed away in the womb." So we prayed a lot about it. Our pastor from our church came and prayed with us, and we decided that we were going to deliver her while she was strong. And we had spent that much time at the hospital. We wanted to give her a fighting chance. It was such a somber day, and I remember telling my mom, I don't want to know. I've spent all this time waiting for her, not knowing, and she's alive. I just don't want to know. I'm not ready. And my mom said something really wise, and she said, "You're never going to know. This is not going to change 4 weeks from now. You're not going to know any more at that point than you know now. So let's deliver her when she's strong and see what God's going to do, and then we'll just take it from there." I went in to deliver her by cesarean section so that it would be the most minimal trauma on her as possible. And when they were getting me ready for that, I was holding the lady's hands and just tears were pouring down her arms because I just did not want to know. They took her out and they lifted her up, and I heard the most glorious sound. I heard, "Wah!" It was like a cat crying actually, but it was just so great. And it wasn't that she was going to be okay, because I don't think we knew at that time, but it was such a good start to know that she just cried. We never expected her to cry. We never expected to hear a sound from her. And I had prayed the entire night, the night before when I was in labor and delivery, please God, please just let me hear her cry. And he did. And so they took her away right away to the NICU to see, kind of to assess her lungs and take some x-rays and stuff. And 30 years, some of the people that had worked there, and they said, we have never seen a baby like this that just has no problems whatsoever with her lungs. She did not have any fluid, and her lungs should not have worked, and they just worked perfectly. So we feel and we know that we got a miracle from God that day, and that is why she is here. There are roughly 100 families that come in and out of the NICU. And one of the things we found when we were there is that we didn't want to leave her to go get food, or that it was very, very costly. And so we have partnered with the school that my husband works at and ourselves, and we do Tessa's Treats, which is bringing up snacks and meals for families that are up there to just quickly grab in the family room.